My name is Michael Ray. I've been with SRF since there was an SRF back in 2009. And before that, I was actually with the precursor of SRF when we were embedded inside the Methuselah Foundation. So I am a science writer for SENS Research Foundation. I wear a lot of different hats. I do a lot of our external communications to the public to translate what kind of science we're doing to a general audience. I also do a lot of science technical briefings for our inside organization, and I participate in our research development committee where we decide what our key scientific priorities are and how we're going to award grants to new organizations that are proposing new rejuvenation biotechnology research. Aging really is the medical problem. It is the cause of 110,000 people's deaths every single day. It is the predominant cause of death worldwide, now even in developing countries. It also causes just an enormous amount of suffering. The so-called diseases of aging, if we're looking at Alzheimer's or cardiovascular disease or cancer, those are all just particular manifestations of the aging process. We really have to tackle aging head on instead of trying to attack these individual diseases one by one, which is a really failed approach. I think I've always really recognized that the ways that people accommodate themselves to aging and death are sort of nice stories that don't really help us very much. I think it only became something I was aware of in the 1990s that there were actually scientists working on the idea of intervening in aging and developing therapies against aging, and maybe there are things we could already do against aging. And that just immediately captivated and excited me. And the more I followed that thread, the more I got into the core science that eventually led me to Dr. DeGray and the damage repair approach, which is the really iterable way that we can ultimately conquer aging as a process of disease and debility in human beings. So liberating us all from the specter of the idea that all of us and all of our loved ones are on a declining path from the time we reach a so-called peak in our 20s is just going to open up so much limitless human potential and just so much relief from this specter hanging over us through our lives. It will be a truly re-envisioned humanity that is just an inescapable vision. Our donors are, of course, the core of everything that we're doing. Science costs money. It's an expensive endeavor. It costs money to keep our science fed and housed, and it costs money to keep our scientists in all the reagents they need, to keep our lab mice alive, to do everything that we're doing. And there is just no way to do that without funding. And especially in the early years to get us going, it was just critical to have money that was independent of the very narrow vision of the National Health Institutes of Health and other funding sources. And now to be able to do really radical work that is still not recognized within the NIH or conventional funding sources. There's nothing like, individual donors who are supporting the vision of a future free of aging and willing to gamble on really exciting, really breakthrough research to keep us going.